I'm thinking about Gary Lineker, which I don't often do. I think Gary Lineker is a privileged little idiot. He's more opinionated than me, and that's saying something. The problem is his opinions are complete polar opposites to mine. Don't like his opinions. I don't know anything about him personally. He seems quite an affable sort of gentleman when he's on the TV. But I think his beliefs about open borders, migration, etc., are completely the opposite of mine. However, here's the thing. What Linekar said yesterday, or whenever it was, about the new government policy for stopping criminals coming into our country, because as soon as somebody comes into the country illegally, they're a criminal by default. You know, of course, that's going to really trigger all the far left lunatics that think the whole world should be able to come to our country, and anybody that's paid tax in the last 50 years should pay for it, including obviously Gary Lineker will probably think like that. However, Linekar went on his little rant yesterday about the new policy that is meant to stop the boats. First of all, I'll believe it when I see it. Listen, if they get it right and they do it, it's a coup. And we've had a coup already when Rishi came to power, haven't we? However, if they manage to stop the boats, I'll take my hat off to them, and I would support them wholeheartedly if they can stop people coming into our country illegally, just like Australia did. But Linekar took exception to this and compared the current British government to the Nazi Party in Germany in the 1930s. It's outrageous. It's absolutely disgusting. It's offensive to everybody that fought against the Nazis in the Second World War, who incidentally, the Prime Minister at the time we fought against the Nazis was a Conservative Prime Minister who would probably have been far more hostile to masses of people coming to this country illegally than Rishi or Suella Braverman. But Linekar made this ridiculous comment comparing the British government to Germany in the 1930s. I think that's what he said. However, as offensive as I find that, and I find a lot of things that he says offensive, and a lot of things that he said are absolutely stupid and not well thought out, he's using his privileged position to push his doctrine onto the rest of us. I don't share the clamour to get him cancelled, because that's what the left do. If you ever go on a demonstration and you come up against the left, they won't debate you. They just shout at you, tell you you're a fascist and run away. One, because they're cowards and they don't really like facing up to real men and real women who care about the country. And incidentally, the women in our movement are probably braver than the men. So real men and real women that stand up to these far left lunatics find out that very quickly the left just melt away like the snowflakes that they are. However, I don't want to see Linekar cancelled. I don't want to see him sacked from the BBC even, because it sets a precedent. If Linekar goes, then it means that when people like Clarkson get cancelled and others who've been cancelled in recent years, too many to mention, Ant Middleton, you can go on and on and on, all the people who've lost platforms, lost their jobs, been put in very, very difficult positions because of their political beliefs. If Linekar goes, we're just as bad as them, in my opinion. Now, you might not agree with me, that's entirely up to you. But I don't think Linekar should lose his job because he's an idiot. If he was a bad commentator, he should lose his job. If he was making political statements during Match of the Day, he should lose his job. But sending a tweet, isn't that about freedom of speech? Isn't that what we're meant to stand for? So, may go against the grain, may annoy a lot of people. Yes, Linekar's a moron. Yes, he's said something stupid. But no, I don't think Gary Lineker should lose his job over the head of it. And there is a more serious point than this, than the Linekar situation. And it is the way that the left, and remember, and I keep warning about this, and I am not a fan of the Conservative Party. I've never voted Conservative in my life. I live in Northern Ireland. I've always voted for the DUP or Unionist parties. But if the Conservative Party lose this next election, you will have people like Linekar running our country. Vile, disgusting, leftist Marxists. And that's what they are. The Labour Party is still absolutely stuffed with Corbynistas. And when you get some of their special advisors in, And we're going to look at this in a lot of depth over the coming months, because this is my little pet project. Let's have a look at the Labour Party, and let's have a look at who's associated with the Labour Party, and let's look at their pasts. Let's look at the causes that they supported. Let's look at their association with terrorist groups. Let's look at their association with deep, dark, far left groups that have been involved in terrorism. Let's look at their association with Muslim fundamentalist groups that have been closely associated with apologising for terrorism. Let's have a look at their connections with Hamas. Let's look at their correct connections with Sinn Féin and the IRA. So we can't clamour for Linekar to be cancelled, because the next Labour government, believe you me, if you get the chance, it's a documentary. I mean, you don't have to read a book or anything. There's a documentary on YouTube about the gulags. Start watching that documentary and you will understand what socialism is at its core and its heart. You will understand what communism is. And there's very little difference between socialism and communism. Don't let people spin you a yarn on this. They're very, very close bedfellows. So, no, Linekar shouldn't be cancelled, but from the point of view of the British public, be very, very aware of how dangerous the Labour Party is, even under the very insipid and moderate-seeming Keir Starmer. You know, it was very moderate-seeming men in communist Russia that sent people to the prison camps and to the gulags and justified it, all for the cause of the revolution, all for the cause of promoting socialism. So there you go. We've got Gary Linekar comparing the Conservative government with the Nazis, and I'm comparing any future Labour government with the communists of Leninist and Stalinist Russia. Because believe you me, there are people in there who are Stalinists. There are people in there who are Trotskyists. There are people in there who are so far left that they consider anybody to the right of Lenin to be a Nazi. And that's what we're up against. And that's why we need to be very, very cautious about what happens in the next general election. And I would, as much as I hate to say it, and I never want to say this, and it sticks in my throat to say it, but if I was in England and I could vote Labour or Conservative, I would vote Conservative, purely and simply to keep Labour out. Split the vote in any way at the minute, and it's going to let Labour in. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And if the people in the Conservative Party, like Suella Braverman and Rees-Mogg and some of the other people who seem to be right-wing, I don't know if they fully are, they seem to support liberty and freedom and free markets and nationalism. If those people are genuine, then we've got to hope and pray that they get control of the Conservative Party from the blob, from the centre ground, and take Britain in the right direction and away from the communist nightmare that will come upon us if the Labour Party were voted in. 5 years of Labour would destroy this country. The country's in a bad enough state it is. 5 years of Labour would destroy it. Anyway, it's a rant. I'm not doing a political broadcast for the Tories because I don't really like them, but I'm just saying the Labour Party are a million times worse. We need an alternative, but at the minute we don't have one. Because believe you me, I don't trust Farage and the Reform Party. I'm sorry. I've seen what happened when genuine working class people took over UKIP, and the UKIP establishment, let's just put it that way, pulled the plug on it and imploded the party to stop genuine patriotic working class people getting hold of the reins of power in UKIP. So there is no alternative at the minute. There is no political alternative, I'm sorry to say, and anything to stop Labour. And I think the only way you can stop Labour at the moment is by voting Tory. This madness that, you know, we'll let Labour get in and then we'll sort it all out in 5 years' time. Who fights a war like that? You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, that's my longer rant than I expected it to be. I'm going to start trying to do maybe one of these a week, just to keep my hand in, keep chatting about things that are happening in the world, and keep demonstrating, keep fighting, keep standing for what's right, and never, never surrender. See you all soon.